Hello, I'm going to do a quick demo for Lab 7 with the joystick. So the requirement for this lab was to basically replace the encoder and add this joystick in, and the joystick has some extra added functionality. This is done through the ADC. What I've set up over here, and I apologize, my wiring is a bit messy. I have the joystick connected to pins A0 and A1 on the GPIO, and they're going here to the VRX and the VRY pins on the joystick, and then I have the +5 connected to the 3.3 volts, and obviously ground is connected to ground. We have the same standard setup that we've been using for the past few labs, and then obviously I have my debug console over here, which I'll get to in a second. So basically the objective of this lab was to use this joystick to control the LED counters here. When we're not in auto increment mode, the x-axis on the joystick controls how fast we increment and decrement. The further you hold down the joystick, the faster it increments, and vice versa. And then if we're in increment mode, moving the joystick up and down decreases and increases the speed. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'll show you the joystick working here with the different speeds and stuff. So if I hold it slightly, it starts incrementing a little slowly. It's a little finicky because I have to get it right on but you can see how it's moving slowly. And what I've set up over here on the debug console is to print out the ADC values every time we see a change of 0.2 volts. So every time the x-axis or y-axis reading changes by 0.2 volts, that's when we print out a value. And then the temperature is printing out every 5 seconds, but I'll talk about that in a second. So if I go ahead and hold this down all the way, you'll see that it starts incrementing at a rate of 250 milliseconds. The counter's going there. I know the wiring's a little messy, but and if I let go of this, you'll see the values print out and it goes back down to about 1.6. And then if I hold it the other direction, we'll see it start decrementing, but it's decrementing slowly. And then if I hold it down a little bit more, then it starts decrementing faster. And then if I hold it all the way, then it starts decrementing really fast. And again, that's printing out values as I change. So if I'm playing around with this guy, you'll see that like the values are changing. Now, if we put this in auto increment mode, that's where things get a little more interesting. So we have it automatically incrementing here, and what I'll do is I'll push up on the joystick, and that should speed it up, but only when I let go of it. So if I keep doing this a few times, the speed increases. And then if I slow it back down by pushing down a bunch of times, it slows down to I think the bounds I set were 250 milliseconds for fastest, and then 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds, for slowest. So yeah. And then obviously these buttons should still work, so external buttons are still functioning the way I would expect them to. Okay. So yeah, and then on top of that, we have the temperature printing every 5 seconds. So I'll just go ahead and show that if I turn this guy around, the debug console is getting updated with the values. And the way I have it printing is I have the raw value printing, and then I have it preceded by the voltage value that I convert to. So you'll see both of those values being printed out, and then the temperature is being printed out in Fahrenheit. I'm seeing a pretty average room temperature value for the temperature, so I'm assuming that's right. I don't really have another way of gauging whether or not that temperature is correct. Anyway, I'll go ahead and cover the code that I have over here a little extensively in the code walkthrough video. I hope this covers all of the bases for this lab. Thanks.